Hi, everybody. This is Tracy Malone, and today I've got a topic that is not set for everyone in the narcissistic recovery world. It is about soulmates. So, we all know as a victim of abuse that narcissists, if yours didn't, that would be unusual, but they generally use the soulmate scam. They just ingratiate themselves to your heart, call you soulmate, just to build this connection to you. So, when you're post narc abuse and out of your divorce or out of your relationship and you're ready to find a soulmate again, most of us are like, no, 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 I don't want to hear that word, right? It's an evil word when you've been abused. But the truth is, it's a lovely word, and it's a lovely person if you can find them. And when you do find them, you will see the difference between what was promised to you as a soulmate in a narc relationship and what is the real truth about someone who is a deepest connection and you feel like you're home. My guest today is Arielle Ford. She is the author of 11 nonfiction books, and she has never written a novel, but she just did, and we just did an interview about that. But today we're going to talk about her book called The Soulmate Secret. And The Soulmate Secret is a book that's going to help you manifest the life, but it's going to take you through a lot of examples, a lot of things. This is what we have to do to prep. It's not for them, right? It's not like, where do I find them? It's how do I prepare my heart, my soul, and everything about me to bring this person in, to be whole enough to be able to give myself to the right person. So let's go meet Arielle, and we'll see you on the other side. Hi, Arielle. Thank you so much for doing 2 videos with me today.
I'm so excited to be with you.
Well, this video that we're going to talk about is about your book called The Soulmate Secret. And tell me, how many languages has this been translated in? Because it sounds like a lot.
21 languages in 40 countries around the world.
Wow. And with good reason. It's an amazing book. I took it on vacation. Anybody wants to see how much I damaged it floating in the pool, I'd get out and it would be this soggy little thing, and my friends and I would put it in the sun to dry. I was like, I had to keep reading it and keep reading it, and then I was on vacation reading it, and all of my friends that were with me were taking notes too. And one of the part of your book is to make a relationship corner, and we found these giant glass hearts, and so all of the girls on the trip bought a giant glass heart because of your book.
Oh, that's
So,
fantastic.
so one of the things about the soulmates is when victims of a narcissistic abuse are abused, they were probably conned with the "we're soulmates," scam, and then a narcissist is always, "You're our twin flame, you're my soulmate, we're perfect together." They hook with you, the love bombing hook, right? So why don't we start out by like demystifying what exactly a soulmate is, because
Yes,
it's always misconstrued.
always. Okay, so my definition of a soulmate is that it's first and foremost somebody you can completely be yourself with, somebody with whom you share unconditional love, and when you look into their eyes, you have the experience of being home. And
Mm.
if you accept that definition, then the truth is you already have many soulmates. It could be your parents, your kids, your siblings, your friends, your cats, your dogs, your coworkers, your neighbors. There are lots of people in your life that fit that definition. And what I recommend that single people do is actually make a list of these people, 10, 20 people, whatever it is. And then every day have a daily gratitude process where you sit down with your list, close your eyes, put your attention on your heart, and then one by one, see each person and feel in your heart how grateful you are to have this soulmate, this mother soulmate, this sister soulmate, this coworker soulmate, whatever it is. And spend 5 minutes sending love to all of them. Because when you do this, you put yourself on a really high love frequency. You fill yourself up with the understanding of the abundance of love you already have. You're not
Mhm.
at a love deficit.
Mhm.
And when you're in that space, you make your heart magnetic to romantic love, because so many people are running around with, I don't got nobody. I'm not lovable. I'm so lonely. There's no love for me, blah, blah, blah. And that's just not true. But in the law of attraction, what you put your attention on grows. So if your attention is on how much love you don't have, you are resisting and repelling. You're literally repelling love as a possibility. So the love gratitude process is the way out. Not only that, you're actually doing good for the world. You're putting love into the world when you're doing that.
Yeah. And when I was with all of my girls on my little trip reading your book in a pool, one girl was like, I got out and I was like, wait, this is where you hear what I just learned this. And I'm like, and she was like, there's just no good men in the world. And
Let's talk about that for a moment, okay?
Not that, exactly.
Right? Because it's not true. All right. There's no shortage of great conscious men in the world. All right. And what happens quite often, especially with women who consider themselves spiritual, we can have a conversation about that, is, oh, I want a spiritual man. And I always say to them, no, you do not. You do not want a new age nice guy. Most people get into new age stuff because they're damaged and they want healing, right? What you want is a conscious man. A conscious man is one who's living his life on purpose. And he may not do yoga or drink green drinks or meditate or ever read a Deepak Chopra book, but it doesn't mean he's not a conscious man. A conscious man is on purpose. He'll take a bullet for you. He cares about you and your feelings. He'll be devoted to you. And he may not want to go to the New Age church with you ever, but he will drive your mother to the doctor, right? He will make sure you have everything that you need when you're not feeling well. And there's no shortage of conscious men. So you have to really give men a chance. So many women, especially the ones who think they're spiritual, they have the hardest time because they believe that they're intuitive. I'm so intuitive. I will know within 20 seconds whether he's it or not. Not true. Women fall in love in between their ears, and it takes time to build trust. Men, on the other hand, are very visual. I have met men who have experienced love at first sight and are now married for 40, 50 years. I've never met a woman who had love at first sight and it lasted. Right? What they had was lust at first sight, right? So it's really important to understand there's no shortage of good men in the world. Now, you could give me statistics, and I've had women do this at workshops. Well, I live on the west side of Manhattan, and statistically there's, 17 single women for every single man, and he's usually an 80-year-old widower and blah, 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 blah. And I said, you only need one, right? All you're doing is making up an excuse to give up, to not have love. And then I could tell her 5 other stories, of women in their 60s and 70s and even 80. And I'd be happy to tell you about the 80-year-old that have found love online and are happily married now. I got 3 emails this month from women over 60, 2 of whom who've never been married, who found love on Match.com. Wow. So this thing that there's not enough good men is just, it's a knee-jerk protection excuse. Absolutely. To remain single.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of negative thoughts that people do. I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm not good enough, I have too much baggage, I'm not successful, or I am too successful. Because I get that one, I'm like,
and those will come, and it's your job as an emotionally mature woman to remind yourself not to believe every thought that you have, and it's just not true. The one that I'm too fat that's my favorite one. The average size wedding dress sold in this country is a size 16.
Wow.
Right?
That's a nice
and I have a big poster somewhere. I should have pulled it out. I don't have it here. Of people, like on this poster is let's see, Beyonce, Halle Berry, Sandra Bullock. There's 25 of the most beautiful, famous, successful women in Hollywood, all a size 0 or a size 2, all of whom were publicly betrayed by their husbands, all of them. So I could make an argument that being skinny, rich, and beautiful is a detriment to your love life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. I think that that if you are, I'm not saying overweight, that, but I feel that if someone loves you when you're overweight, they will love you wherever you are. Right. Whereas if you are a size 0 and you gain 5 pounds, that person might not be interested in you because that's what they were interested in. So to me, I don't know if there's truth in that, but it feels like it.
Well, people who are obsessed about how much they weigh don't have a lot of space to be devoted to you.
Hmm.
So if they have body image issues, they're going to project that onto you, So at the end of the day, we have to accept who we are. I was just thinking this morning, there was a piece on the morning news about this very famous pastor who has one of the biggest churches in California. And a few years ago, he wrote this whole health and diet book, and he had lost a lot of weight, and everybody was on his name's Rick Warren, on the Rick Warren diet. It was a big thing, at least in California. And now they're interviewing him, and he's like at least 150 pounds overweight. He gained all the weight back. And that has been my observation. I have plenty of friends who have lost the 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds. And a year later, it's all back plus, plus, plus. So we have to learn to accept who we are. We have a set point. Our bodies want to be a certain way. It's your job to keep that body healthy, to do the best you can, to eat right and to exercise and to get sleep. And, if you didn't have skinny parents and you weren't skinny growing up, chances are 35, 45, 55, you're not going to be skinny, but you can dress to feel really good, right? And you can learn to love yourself. And it's a moment by moment, day by day job. I'm 15 pounds over what I would like to be, but the truth is I'm just too lazy to go on a diet. I am too lazy. And the other thing I've noticed now that we're about to have our 25th anniversary, Brian loves me no matter what I weigh.
Hmm.
And he doesn't actually like really skinny women.
Mm.
I mean, how did I get so lucky? Lucky that wasn't even on my wish list. He, his mother was a big woman, and he prefers big women. And I didn't even know that until we were like 5 years in, and one day he said something quite negative about some skinny actress. He was like, God, I'd just like to give her a bowl of pasta. And she's like, perfect. He goes, no, she's too skinny. So I was like, yes, thank you, God.
Wow. See, again, our own hangups, our stuff, right? We all have stuff. And again, that's going to get seriously in the way when we're looking for a soulmate. So how does someone find it? How do you find a soulmate? It's not like I go to, soulmate.com and swipe.
Well, it's called Match.com. Yes, you can find it there. Well, the first step is having tremendous clarity on what your soul is most calling for. So that's not the shopping list of height, weight, income, and all of that. What are the heart traits and qualities and values that
Mm.
you most want to have? And then in the process, you need to understand what it takes to have a really excellent, happy, healthy, long-term partnership. And what it takes is connection, compatibility, clear communication, which can be learned, some chemistry, although chemistry is not the most important. The single most important trait is having a shared vision for the future. So
Mm.
you don't want to go for the feelings. Oh, God, I feel like I've known him forever. I've known her forever. This is my twin soul. We're so connected, but they have no financial responsibility. They have no track record of having a stable thing. They're a high anxiety person with a lot of issues that are not being treated. Like we all have issues, but are they being are they being handled? So understanding and having clarity around what your soul is calling for is the first step. And
Hmm.
then the second step is dating. You have to date. There is no one-click shopping for soulmate on Amazon. It doesn't exist. No, no, what do they call those little airplanes up there? Those little funny things. They're not going to drop soulmate at your doorstep.
Oh, the drones.
A drone. Yes, you cannot have your soulmate delivered by drone. So, one of the things I give away for free on my website, it's soulmatesecret.com, and it's free, is a online dating guide. and it's 100% free. I don't even try to sell you something afterwards. It's just free. And it shows you how to successfully date online. And it has samples of profiles that work. And it gives you all the information you need to stay safe, because dating's important. And I'm going to tell you one quick story about it. I have a girlfriend named Liz. Liz was 49 years old and never married. And she made up her mind that for her 49th year, she was going to date online for 1 year until she manifested her soulmate. And if she didn't, she was going to take out a second mortgage on her house to spend $100,000 on a matchmaker. Liz chose Match because I have seen the most success with smart, successful women over 40 on Match. That's why I choose that one. She went out on 79 first dates in 9 months, and number 80 has now been her husband for 11 years.
Wow.
But that's how committed she was. And that's how committed you need to be. You need to be able to spend at least a half hour every day reaching out. Why should you be reaching out? Because statistically, the women who reach out to the men have the most success. And yes, if men reach out to you, you want to connect, and you have to have the understanding that 90% of the people you meet online are going to be horrible, disappointing, will ghost you, will not look like their picture, and it has nothing to do with you at all, right? Don't take it personally that they don't respond. They don't know you. They can't reject you when they don't know you, right? And you have to be willing to power through. Just like if you were a single mom with 4 kids and you got fired and you knew you had to get a job, you would go on 1 million job interviews until you got the job, because you have to feed your kids, right? It would never occur to you, well, that, I didn't get those 3 jobs, therefore I'm not meant to have a job. I'll just starve and my kids will starve. You wouldn't do that, but women do this with their love life. Oh, well, it may work for other people. I tried it. It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
My friend Evan has this great line. He goes, that makes as much sense as like saying, okay, Tracy, did you ever go to a restaurant and have a bad meal?
Yes.
Right. Did you quit eating because of that?
No.
All right. And yet people give up online because they had a bad experience.
Right.
I'm telling you, go in knowing you will have bad experiences. And so what? You only need one. And in order to get that one, you have to be visible. You can't be home watching the Kardashians by yourself, eating popcorn, wishing, hoping, dreaming, giving yourself tarot card readings. It doesn't work like that.
I have a friend who has been on 10,000 dates, and she says it's all a numbers game, but that isn't true, is it?
Well, for my friend Liz, it was a numbers game. It was 80. That was her number. If you're on 10,000 dates, I would say that your commitment to complaining and whining and not winning is bigger than 10,000. I mean, that's just almost impossible that you could have met 10,000 prospects and not one of them turned into something.
I personally think it's her expectations, because hers are not what you have guided us to in the book, right? Her expectations are, he has to make more money than me, and he has to be this tall, and he has to XYZ, and no baggage, and none, who doesn't have baggage at 60 years old?
Right. Yeah. So the money thing, let's talk about the money thing, because I have a lot of friends in soulmate relationships. And 90% of the women out earn their husbands. Okay. My friends, all my girlfriends are type A successful entrepreneurs, and they make a lot of money. And they're married to good men that they're happy with, that are conscious men that are living their life on purpose. And why be measuring this money? What does it mean? We all know in this day and age, you could marry a multimillionaire and his money could be gone tomorrow. And it happens all the time. So what you want is a man who's financially responsible with the money that he has, not that he actually has more. And if you end up, like I have a friend just like that, the money thing and the height thing so important to her. And now she's 65 and still not married because she's just so picky, and the thing is, the guys with that kind of wealth, they control the money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and there will be, prenups involved. And I am a big fan of prenups. I think prenups are great, given that here's a statistic you probably don't know. I'm sure you know that 50% of first marriages end in divorce.
Mm-hmm.
What nobody seems to get is 62% of second marriages and 71% of third marriages end in divorce. Now, why is that? Did you marry the same guy 3 times? No, you didn't, but you were the same person 3 times.
Ooh. Yeah.
So unless you're fixing yourself along the way and learning how to be a good partner, which is what I had to do, which is why I wrote my book, Wabi Sabi Love and Turn Your Mate into Your Soulmate, because I did manifest my soulmate and quickly discovered I had no partnership skills.
Wow.
I didn't understand that for 80% of men, respect is more important than sex. I didn't know how to respect a man. I didn't really even understand what that meant, right? And that, there's men are pretty basic creatures if you understand them.
Mm-hmm.
A, they want to win. B, they can only be with you if they believe they can make you happy, right? They love it when you tell them how brilliant they are. And they have to come first. They have to be the priority in your life.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not the priority, they'll find somebody for whom they are the priority. So there's just this basic stuff, and you have to be willing to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And if all your fun and focus is on your career, which for most women it is. Why? Because work is fun, and we're not testosterone head when we're working, and it's great. But if you want to be with an alpha male who's testosterone driven, you have to learn how to shift into your more receptive feminine energy. That doesn't mean you can't be exactly who you are. It's just that you can't have two male energies, let's call it, as opposed to men, two male energies competing for the limelight. I always say there can only be one rock star per family. And it doesn't matter which one is the rock star, but you can't be competing.
Wow. I think that explains my 10,000 friend, because she's the boss. She's got to be the boss. So maybe that's why these haven't worked.
Right. And the truth is, she would do really well with a more beta guy who's there to be her safe place to land, who's the one she can break down and cry to after the end of a bad day, who can remind her what a badass she is, but isn't competing with her. That was my pattern for years. I always was going out with these captain of the universe types. I wanted somebody taller, richer, more ambitious, more successful. And I would date those kinds of men. And I always had the same exact complaint about all of them. They have no time for me. Because what my soul needed was the tension. And when I finally admitted that to myself, I was so embarrassed. It's like, oh my God, I'm so needy. But the truth is, I craved attention. I wanted to be the center of somebody's universe. And these captain types, they're the center of their universe.
Yeah.
So once I got that and I was able to change my soulmate wish list and understand that I wanted somebody for whom I would be the center of the universe, everything changed. And I ended up with a former pro athlete who had a bad starter marriage and realized the importance of devotion and to making your partner the center of the universe. So I sort of got the best of everything.
What a lucky girl you are. That's an amazing story. Just reading about you and your husband and your lists. In the book, what I loved, I listened to it first on Audible, but I was painting a room and I'm on a ladder and I didn't have a chance to write down all the exercises. So when I got the actual paper book, I was able to, oh my gosh, these are great exercises. There's so many little things about readiness and, preparing your space and, are you still angry from the betrayal, which is how narcissistic victims are, right? Until we get rid of that, we are not dating material. And so they need to work on themselves to get to that point that you were describing where
And I want to say something to that, because so many women say to me, well, I'm not ready yet. When I do more work, then I'll be ready. And the truth
Mhm,
is, we're a work in progress. We're never going to be fully 100% healed and perfect. And
mm,
the way to get healed, which was so shocking when I figured this out, is that the deepest healing I did was when Brian and I got together and I could see coming out of his eyes how much he loved me. That's when I healed.
mhm,
Because in attachment theory, I had previously been an anxious type. Now, he was always a secure type, but I had been an anxious type. And the more that I was with him, the more that I learned to trust him, the more that I could see that he was consistent in who he was. He did what he said he was going to do. He showed up constantly the same way. Then I became a secure type. So I now believe one of the fastest ways to get to bigger healing is through what I call big love, by having a relationship and being willing to take the risk. There's no doubt that we get hurt in love, right? It just happens. And it's kind of supposed to be that way. Harville Hendricks, who Oprah
mhm,
calls the marriage whisperer and is kind of the God I worship to,
mhm,
Harville believes that the purpose of soulmate marriage is to create a safe container in which to live so that all of our childhood wounds from our early caregivers come up for healing.
mm.
That's the purpose of taking sacred vows.
Wow. Yeah.
So to go in saying, well, I don't want to get hurt again is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
It's like being a runner and saying, well, I don't ever want to get shin splints or whatever,
Exactly.
it's part of the deal. If you're training hard, there will be pain.
Hmm. Yeah. And I tell my clients who are just about to go out and date, I'm like, you have to be ready for a little rejection. That looking and they didn't answer me when I thought they were perfect and they didn't answer me. That's a little bit of a rejection. So again, it's to know that you're ready and that, okay, I get that they're not going to answer me and I'm not going to take it personally. It's not me. And to be in a safe place within yourself to know who you are and what a great catch you'd be.
Right. Yeah. There's a great line around the rejection thing, but I can't think of it right now, just to really understand that it's protection. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not rejection, it's protection. This person is not your person.
Hmm.
Right? So by them disappearing, however it is, or not responding, that is God protecting you.
Yeah. My therapist, well, he didn't have a lot of good things to say and teach me. He didn't know what a narcissist was. He kept repeating this one mantra that was, you don't know if you've been spared from heaven or saved from hell.
That's also very good.
I was
Yeah,
like, whoa, I mean, it's
that's a
sort of
good
the same
one.
thing. Which one is it? Am I, but I want it back. Well, maybe that's not what you want. What you really want is, someone who is going to be that person that,
Right, because we need to always remember that human beings all need the same thing. We need to feel emotionally and physically safe.
mhm,
And it's our job to vet these people that we're dating to make sure, first and foremost, that they're capable, that they're competent.
mhm,
There's a line in The Love Thief where Holly's whining and complaining to her mentor, I just want to be loved. And he says to her, asking Barry to love you is like asking a man with no arms to hold you.
mm, wow,
Not capable,
mhm,
not possible.
yeah,
And at some point, you have to just accept that
right.
and
And
move on.
and realize that it's not you. Like again, when they hit that point of it, that rejection, that hurt, and then they just go, oh, when they have that realization that they cannot love, then this is, okay, it's not
Yeah,
me.
like
And
trying to
then
get blood from a stone.
exactly
Not possible.
not,
Give up. And
yeah.
if you don't want to give up, take responsibility for the fact that you're torturing yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I want to talk about one more point, which is why people need to go buy this book. The part about the soulmate list, and I started jotting things down this weekend this week when I was reading it in the pool. Tell us everyone about the soulmate list because I think that's the starting point.
Yes, so it's really about having clarity on what your soul is most calling for. What are the heart traits and qualities that you most need to feel emotionally and physically safe, to be happy, to feel connected to another human being? And back in the day when I wrote that, like I think I shared in the book, my list was 48 items long. And that's really excessive and not necessary. At this point, I am now advising people to write two shorter lists. One is your must-have list, and
Hmm.
the other is your deal breaker. So on my must-have list, uh, must be financially responsible, must be willing to lead a somewhat healthy lifestyle, right? Must have a passport and love travel. I
Mm.
also had on my list, must have a great relationship with his mother, who would be a great mother-in-law to me. And then I had one that must be able to walk unassisted, because I walk every day and my vision was that we would walk together. And for many, many, many years we did. We don't so much anymore because Brian's had physical issues over the years, so we don't walk like we used to. But, I had at least 20 good years of walking, and then on my deal breaker list, there was stuff like, absolutely cannot be using drugs or smoking. Light drinking, not a problem, but I didn't want somebody who was smoking pot every day or shooting up or whatever, like no addiction kind of stuff. And I can't even remember now what the other deal breakers were, but you have to do what's right for you. You have to figure it out like you can. And the easiest place to do is go to your past relationships and just see what worked for me. What would I want to recreate? What did I love about this one or love about that one? And what will I never tolerate again?
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. And then this is where politics comes in. Given the polarization of our landscape now, I am recommending that you never, ever leave your house to meet somebody ever until you've had at least one video date, at least one. And on that video date, you need to determine if you're politically aligned. Okay. Because if you're an all blue, bleeding heart liberal progressive, and he's watching Fox News and has a red MAGA hat, there's no possibility there. So
Hmm.
why bother? You don't have to be mean or rude about it,
Hmm.
and it can be as simple as, well, where do you like to get your news from?
Ooh.
Just for fun. That's just an easy question,
Yeah.
and they'll tell you, and they'll say, let's say it's Fox, and they say, oh yeah, I'm a big Tucker Carlson fan. Really? That's so interesting. What is it that you like about him? You
Hmm.
know, and like, what news don't you like? And you can be gentle about it. And then you limit these calls to 15 minutes, the first one. When 15 minutes is up, you can just say, hey, I'm really impressed that you look like your pictures. You seem like a really nice guy. And, politically, we couldn't be more different. So I'm wishing you a lot of luck on your soulmate search. Great meeting you. End meeting. Gone. Gone. You don't have to feel bad about it. You just told the truth.
Yeah.
But it's important to know that.
Absolutely. It's so
Huh?
important. Again, I'm bringing my traveling up for this past week, but I traveled with a bunch of friends and we had different travel styles. I really think that this is important for people to, like, this is the rest of your life. And if love to go to the beach and this person hates the beach, where, like, that's a big thing. You need to
Well,
understand.
yes, I always recommend traveling with somebody early on, because who they really are shows up. And if you're a total beach person and they're a pool person, well, that's an easy fix,
Hmm.
right? Or you can just say, listen, twice a year, I'm going with my girlfriends to do a beach vacation, and we can go to the mountains to go water skiing for a joint vacation. That's sort of a fixable thing.
Right, right.
You
That makes
know,
sense. Yeah.
but if you love foreign travel and, they have no desire to see Italy and that's like your favorite place, that's not a fixable thing. So,
Yeah.
you want to discover those kinds of things. Like Brian and I traveled all over the world for years and years and years. And then 5 years ago, he said to me, I'm kind of done traveling. I've been everywhere I want to go. I want to spend the rest of my life watching every sunset from our deck. And at
Mhm.
first I thought he was kidding, but he's not kidding. So So now we have an agreement. We will go to Italy together once a year because our best friends live there. But now I'm traveling. I had to go teach in Kuwait a few months ago, and he went with me years ago to Kuwait. But now he's like, I'm not going. Great. My friend Heidi went with me. So we just pivoted a little bit because
Nice.
I'm not done traveling.
Right.
So yeah, so doing that first 15-minute video date is essential. The other big rule I have with people is texting before you're in a relationship is for 5-word answers. Looking for parking, running 5 minutes late. Do not think you're in a relationship with somebody because you're having fun spending hours texting with each other. If you can't see them, if you can't hear their voice, if you can't feel their energy, all you're doing is, wasting time flirting with somebody who on a real date you may discover has the worst bad breath ever and has, no table manners or something that's going to gross you out. So texting is a waste of time. And if they're saying, and if they won't get on a video chat with you, you're done with them. That's it. You're just done with them. Everybody knows how to do this now.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. All right. What did we miss? Did we miss anything? I mean, the whole book is what they've got to read. So we don't want to give them all the clues, but
there's no shortage of information. All I would say is that you need to be visible. You need to be dating. This whole thing that, well, if it's meant to be, it will just happen organically. That happens in 1 to 2% of the relationships I've seen.
wow.
And you need to be visible, and it's up to you to be visible, and you have to make it fun, and you can't show up. Let's say you do a good video chat and then you go on a walk or a coffee date. Don't treat this person thinking, is he my soulmate or isn't he my soulmate? Just think of it as I'm on an adventure to make a new friend.
Absolutely.
Talk to them like they're the person in the seat next to you on the airplane. Don't completely just, what's the word, just like be in their face about it. Just have fun. Try to be lighter about it, have more fun about it, practice your flirting, be complimentary. And then if they say something that upsets you, don't write them off. What you do when they say something that you're reacting to, ask a clarifying question. Oh, I just heard you say ABC. Did you mean 1, 2, 3? And then you'll probably find out that you misinterpreted what they said. Or you can ask them a second clarifying question. And if it turns out to be something that, you just can't live with, you could just say, God, too bad. You're really cute and adorable, but we're just never going to agree. We can't even agree to disagree on this one. So I don't think we're a match, but be kind and give people a chance.
Yeah. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Arielle. We'll send everyone to your website, Soulmate Secret, the Soulmate Secret.
No, just soulmatesecret.com.
And that's where they can download the free list of all of the things they need to know.
Yes. It comes as a pop-up. It's a free online dating guide.
Good. And I think
they can find me on Instagram. It's Arielle Ford 44 at Instagram also.
Arielle with an E.
Arielle.
Exactly. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. She obviously knows her stuff about soulmates, and we could have talked all day long. So if you are out there looking to find somebody to be in your life that isn't a narc, we have to change our behavior. We have to change from what we were doing and how we looked for people before to finding someone and seeing all of our qualities that we're looking for, what we do. I love that thing that she just talked about making a list of what your exes, the good things about them, right? We all had good things about the exes in the beginning, at least, right? What do we like about them? What didn't we like? That's your deal maker, deal breaker list. So let's start doing that. So everybody follow the link down below. We're going to put a link to her Soulmate Secret handout and get it and start to learn how to start, and then go buy her book and get on the path of you knowing exactly what you're doing and the next steps for you to find the soulmate in your life. So this is Tracy Malone. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe below, and I'll see you again.